just want to make this really fast because I was watching a really interesting video where it was an interview of Paul Smith, and he worked for SRI, which was the Stanford Research Institute, for remote viewing that the CIA used as a spy tactic to find out what was going on in other places. Okay, so someone asked the question about bilocation and if he had any sort of abilities to do so. And it's funny, he said, well, actually, in my line of work, we're not supposed to do that, but let me tell you a story. He said there's one day he was given coordinates to go to this place that it was a tropical island. And he saw the palm trees and the warm water and there were warm breezes and there was, it was beautiful. And so he made his notes and then he left. And he was actually, at the time, he was in Manhattan. And it was cold and he wasn't properly dressed. And he had to go uptown to like a bookstore and he bought some books, and then he was on his way back to the subway. And because he was so cold, he started thinking about that place again. And as he's thinking about that place, he starts to like fall over with his books. And he told his friend Ingo Swann about it, who was also in the program. And his friend was like, damn it, you're not supposed to do that. You went there. You're not supposed to bilocate. And he said, because when you bilocate, because you put yourself there, you can no longer be subjective about what's going on and what you view. And I thought that was so funny because that's exactly what life is. It's like one long bilocation where you can no longer be objective. You're completely subjective because you're submerged in it. And you're so attached to your experience that you can't see the larger picture. And it was funny because I went further and I watched the documentary. Russell Targ, who was the orchestrator of the whole assembly of the secret Stargate program at SRI that was hired by the CIA. And, these scientists were being interviewed like, how is it possible that you're able to give people a coordinate and they're actually able to go there? He said the only way that could be possible is if that is actually in their bodies. Like if the physical coordinates are actually within them. And I was like, oh my God, like all the answers are in plain sight. Like the simplest answer is always the truth, because that's the truth. As you go further down the rabbit hole, you realize, and even I don't know what level NASA has disclosed this, and I know everyone's against NASA, but that's because they know that NASA's withholding the actual truth, right? So there's experiments that show that yes, we are in a hologram, absolutely 100%. And so they thought it would be interesting to look at a human body, because within a hologram, every piece of the whole thing exists. So they took a film of a human body, and sure enough, like when you focus in, you can see everything. You can see the Milky Way. You can see, like, if a comet goes by, you'll see it in the human body. So everything is happening. They were able to do this because there's no difference, there's no distance, there's no space, there's nothing happening. It's just us. And the reality that we're tuned into, the reality that you'll see when you blow up the microscope, is the reality that your consciousness is tuned into. So you're not going to see every comet ever going by ever. You're going to see the one that you're tuned into with your consciousness, because it's not local. You're not local. This hologram seems to appear like it's in a place. It's the place that your consciousness is at right now. So in order to bilocate, we'd have to be able to split our consciousness. And that just, it gets into so many different ideas, right? It opens up a whole new way of looking at things. And I think it's funny because Jupiter would be the ruler of this sort of consciousness right now, because it's the higher knowledge, it's the higher wisdom, it's the visionary, it's the eye. And how do we see? Well, it's been proven that attention and vision has a centripetal effect, that we're actually able to make electric fields condense by focusing on them. So that very action produces gravity. So whatever gravity you're bringing in is the level at which you're viewing things. And that idea also goes into the whole idea of orchestrated objective reality found by Stuart Hameroff and Roger Penrose, where if you didn't have that gravity collapsing realities within the microtubules within your brain, you'd be able to see every possibility at once. You would be God. So the ability to bilocate is learning how to become like God. And Jupiter right now is just, it's rewriting itself. It just went all the way around the zodiac, so it's refreshing itself, and I think this is a great time to sort of bring these things up. And for me, actually, where it's sitting is in the ninth house, which is the ruler of Sagittarius, the ruler of Jupiter. So isn't it so funny that I decided that this would be the topic? It's mind-blowing.